Allah says, وَلَقَدْ زَيَّنَّا السَّمَاءَ الدُّنْيَا بِمَصَابِيحَ وَجَعَلْنَاهَا رُجُومًا لِلشَّيَاطِينِ. Right? That we beautified the sky with stars, and we made them like lamps, right? Or lamps, and we made them like missiles, these asteroids, which are humongous rocks that are engulfed in flames. Right? So this decree of being cast out by stone is not something that ended when the shaitan was cast out, but it remains with them even in the life of this world. Right? So the precision of her choice of words is what actually invoked the distance of the shaitan from her offspring. This is a very important dua that all of us should be making for our offspring before they are born. Right? As one person, he came to a wise man, he had the child carrying him after it was born, and he said, okay, advise me. Right? And the wise man, he said, it's too late. It's too late. Right? You should have came to me before you even became pregnant. Right? Because this is when the work actually truly starts. Keeping away the shaitan even at birth. Right? And Abu Hurairah radiallahu ta'ala anhu, he said, on behalf of the Prophet ﷺ, قال ما من مولود يولد إلا نقصه الشيطان فيستهل صارخا من نقصة الشيطان. That no child is born except for that the shaitan, he pricks him. And so the child comes out screaming and crying from the prick of the shaitan, إلا بن مريم وأمه, except for the son of Maryam and his mother, meaning Maryam herself. And then Abu Hurairah said, اقرأوا إن شئتم, read if you will. And then he mentioned the verse, وَإِنِّي أُعِيذُهَا بِكَ وَذُرِّيَّتَهَا مِنَ الشَّيْطَانِ الرَّجِيمِ, the very verse that we're talking about, invoking distance from the shaitan. Right? So this is one of the most powerful du'as, especially for children in the Quran. And I think I'm out of time with that. Inshallah ta'ala. Perhaps in another session we'll talk about the powerful supplication of Zakaria that possesses all of the secrets of answered dua. Or I can try to finish in 3 minutes and I'll be on my way. Bismillah? Okay. So, إِذْ نَادَى رَبَّهُ نِدَاءً خَفِيًّا. This is a study that we should all go through with these verses, right? He calls upon his Lord a call that is suppressed, right? Khafiyya, right? It is private, and it is an indication also that it is sincere, right? And it is humble, right? And this is the essence behind the supplication. We have it being humble and also private and also sincere, right? And then he says, قَالَ رَبِّي إِنِّي وَهَنَ الْعَظْمُ مِنِّي وَاشْتَعْلَ الرَّأْسُ شَيْبًا. Right? He says, my Lord, my bones have become feeble and my hair is sparkling white. Right? What's happening here? He's trying to use his elderliness, his weakness, whatever weakness he has, he's trying to use it to gain some pity, some mercy from Ar-Rahman. Right? And this is something that is your juice. Right? If you're in a tight situation, right? If you're down to your last dollar, whatever your weakness is, expressing your need to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is from the etiquettes of the answered dua. Right? But while you're expressing your need, you should be careful never to express hopelessness in Allah or helplessness in Allah. And this is why Zakaria alayhi salam, he said, وَلَمْ أَكُمْ بِدُعَائِكَ رَبِّ شَقِيًّا. Right? Just after he said, I'm in need, and expresses his need, he said, I have never been, in my calling upon you, disappointed. I've never been, hopeless or miserable in calling upon you. So there's a perfect balance. Yes, I am in need. I am not hopeless. I'm not helpless. Why? Because Allah is my hope and Allah is my helper. Right? And then he states his praiseworthy intention. This is the thing that we leave out. Right? Oh, we got number one, we got number two, but what about the praiseworthy intention? Again, why is he asking for this son? Why is he asking for this miracle? Right? Because he's concerned about the service of the house of Allah, right? So he states his praiseworthy intention. We have to consider this when we're asking of Allah, what is our intention? Are we asking for something that is ultimately going to benefit us, or something that's ultimately going to harm us? Right? Oftentimes Allah holds back that supplication and he doesn't give us that because perhaps it will harm us in the end, whether we recognize it or not. And then he doesn't stop there, but he seals the deal and he couples this supplication with devotion. This dua with devotion. Right? فَنَادَتْهُ الْمَلَائِكَةُ وَهُوَ قَائِمٌ يُصَلِّي فِي الْمِحْرَابِ. And so the malaika, they came and they delivered him the news of Yahya. They delivered him the news that his supplication was answered while he was standing where? In the mihrab, praying, in prayer. Right? Dua and devotion go hand in hand, and the examples, they're countless. Now to close, why did Allah answer his supplication? Full circle. Right? فَاسْتَجَبْنَا لَهُ وَوَهَبْنَا لَهُ يَحْيَى وَأَصْلَحْنَا لَهُ زَوْجًا. Allah tells us why. Right? We responded to him and we bestowed upon him Yahya, and we rectified his wife who was previously barren. Right? Why? إِنَّهُمْ كَانُوا يُسَارِعُونَ فِي الْخَيْرَاتِ وَيَدْعُونَنَا رَغَبًا وَرَهَبًا وَكَانُوا لَنَا خَاشِعِينَ. The very verse that we mentioned in the beginning, that virtuous culture in their household, that they used to race in pursuit of good, and they used to call upon Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala in hope and in fear, and they were before Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala awestruck. Right? This is the reason why Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, as he explained, that he answered the supplication of Zakaria alayhi salam. So may Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala make us of those who have virtuous cultures inside of our homes. And may he make us of those whose virtuous culture trickle out and be a benefit to, first and foremost, the house of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and the Muslim community. Right? May Allah make our youth and our children the qurrata a'yun, the coolness and the comfort of our eyes, and may they grow up in the worship of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and earn the shade of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala on a day where there will be no shade, and may we be elevated by our good deeds and by theirs. Ameen. Subhanakallahumma wa bihamdika, ashhadu an la ilaha illa anta, astaghfiruka wa atubu ilayk. Barakallahu feekum. Assalamu alaikum. I apologize. I have to shoot back to PA immediately, inshallah. I won't be allowed to stay for breakfast today.
What about Q&A? 4 minutes?
3 minutes Q&A.
And if nobody has any questions, then we started this new thing where you ask questions.
So I ask questions to them?
Based on this topic.
Okay.
So I wrote it down for you if you want.
Barakallahu
Or
feekum.
if you want to do it.
You just took 1 minute. Right? Any questions? Right. It's a big surprise they weren't ready for questions. Right? So what are the 2 virtuous households that we talked about today?
We usually encourage all the kids.
Yes. What's your name? Zaki? MashaAllah. What are the 2 households? Jamil, Mumtaz.
Okay.
Khamsa Nujum. 5 stars for you.
I forgot it.
Right? And how was it that Zakaria alayhi salam was related to Maryam? Yes.
Both of them were related because both of them were related to
Okay, right? That's one way.
And the other way is that their wives were sisters.
Or the aunt of Maryam was the wife of Zakaria. Some also say the sister of Maryam, but that is a strange position.
Sorry.
Nonetheless, considering that perhaps she didn't have children until she was old in age. In order to have khushu in salah, what's one thing I mentioned? In order to develop this quality and have it in salah, you need to also say say this. Khushu in the household and outside of the masjid, outside of salah. Just like ihsan, right? To worship Allah as if you see Him. You think you just show up to salah, you turn on the switch, and mashallah, you that good, right? Allen Iverson, no need for practice, right? No, right? But you have the ihsan in your day-to-day life, and then that switch is already on when you get to the salah, right? And it's the same thing for khushu, right? What four people are mentioned in the Quran? This is going to be the last question, right? In relationship to the mihrab. Huh? Not you, Abu. You know? Give me one. Give me one. Zakaria, easy. Maryam, huh? Zakaria, Maryam. Come on. He took your answer, didn't he? Right here. Dawood alayhi salam, and who knows? You know? Who? Sulaiman alayhi salam. MashaAllah. So they were listening. MashaAllah. It's a good exercise, right? Right? If they would have said somebody else, then we would have been in big trouble today. MashaAllah. Jazakumullahu khaira, afwan, for my istijal, for being in a hurry. But inshallah, this was some benefit. Barakallahu feekum. Jazakumullah. Assalamu alaikum.
وعليكم السلام ورحمة الله